Hey, welcome to BS and Viewpoints. I am Cutty Coastal. Like and subscribe on our YouTube channel, BS and Viewpoints. Co-host Winston Harris couldn't be here today. He took a little sick day, put in for vacation. He ain't getting paid though. Don't trip. I can't pay him. So we got Dan here. He's helping out today. Had to get somebody in there. So why not the great Dan the Man? You know what's been bothering me today?
What's been going on, Mike?
What's been bothering me is the backlash that I feel like Ice Cube is getting with this whole he met with Donald Trump. Like, I have a question. I've always learned before you can formulate an opinion or when you're doing a contract negotiation, you need to go to both sides and see what they want if you're the middleman, if you're the mediator. Ice Cube is attempting to be the mediator, in my opinion. He like, all right, because the Democrats made so many promises and they like, the plan he gave them, they like, we'll look at that later. Donald Trump was like, hey, we're going to look at that now. So he's like, all right, y'all going to look at that now? Let's look at it now. Let's look at what you're going to do for us. Because at the end of the day, no matter how anybody feels, what Ice Cube is trying to do is trying to get black people, not minorities. Understand there's a difference between minorities and black people. Trying to get something accomplished for black people. Most people don't really get that. They just, whenever people hear minorities, they think of black people. You can say that, but you really can't. Because there's really nothing for black people. Everything that was created is for minorities. And in some cases, white women can be considered a minority. So it's like, really, you're just trying to get something accomplished for black people. So they say, hey, Trump, what you got to say? I don't think nothing wrong with that. What's your take on that?
So, I go a little deeper. Here's the thing.
Okay, go a little deeper.
This is my, my expert opinion.
Go ahead, drop it like it's hot.
This is my issue. There's so many flaws that are tragic for any impoverished, minority, underprivileged, inner city community in the Trump administration. Mm-hmm. That any of the small benefits he's shown. So my issue is this. 50 Cent said, I'm voting for Trump. I don't care. He doesn't like black people. Like, come on, man. He's mad about Biden's tax plan, right? That's 50 Cent. That's not Ice Cube. I know Kanye's met with Trump. You know, him and Kim have worked with getting some people out of prison that should have gotten out of prison, and that's great.
Yeah.
But Donald Trump right now is trying to restrict money going to different Portland and New York and these cities he dubs as liberal anarchist cities.
Yeah.
He's about to try to cut funding to those cities because they're his political opponents.
Oh, yeah.
And that's precursors to all kinds of issues, and it's definitely not going to help inner city communities. So,
I'm going to play devil's advocate.
But Ice Cube is allowed to have his opinion. I mean, that's the thing. That's what makes America great. That is the thing, Mm-hmm. So it's...
No, I mean, I agree to an extent.
But the Democrats just say that they'll wait till after the election.
Yeah, but I got a question. You can answer this honestly. Mm-hmm. Me and you better just talk off camera. Really, what have the Democrats done for black people? In your opinion, because I got mine. I give you mine first while you even think about yours.
Well, that's the problem.
Exactly. I don't believe they've done really anything for us.
They haven't. They've hurt.
Mm-hmm. I believe
there's reasons for that, and that's the problem.
I believe every 4 years they come for our vote. They come for our vote. They push out the vote. They don't change anything in the agenda. Part of it is them. Part of it is us. Because at the end of the day, if you can still choose to uplift yourself to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that it's going to be a tough road no matter what. I'm just saying Democrats who we vote for. They got 87, 88% of the African-American votes. It's usually what they get, around 80, 85, 87, somewhere in there. And, they squander it. We're 13.5% of the population in the United States of America, and they squander it.
And that's... So this is, I guess, my theory.
Go ahead.
Of why... Everybody that knows me knows I'm not a Joe Biden fan. Okay?
You not?
I'm not a Democrat fan.
Okay.
I'm a little more liberal than
Bernie?
Joe Biden.
Little Bernie?
I'm a Bernie kind of guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Feel the burn.
I'm a Bernie guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not ashamed of it. I've been a democratic socialist probably. I've been a Bernie fan for a lot of years. long before he ran for president.
Okay.
You know, I respect a man that believes so strongly in his beliefs that he'll get arrested for them. Like, there's a part of me that respects that.
Yeah.
You know, but Bernie's not going to be president. Okay.
No.
I've had to accept that reality. The thing about when you match up a Trump versus Biden.
Oh yeah.
Joe Biden's a career politician.
Definitely.
In the 1970s, everybody knows it. He said some things that weren't good on race. Talking about not wanting to send his kids to a jungle, bus his kids to a jungle. They were talking about segregation. Joe Biden has said some bad things. But the thing about Joe Biden is he's a politician, and he can be moved. Joe Biden's way more progressive today than he was in 1970, right?
Oh, yeah, I believe.
So with a Joe Biden in the White House, if we all work hard enough to like, hey, Joe, this is what we want, I think we can sway him. At least that's my hope. I don't know. Maybe that's just me looking for eternal hope, you know?
You can look for eternal hope. I mean,
But it's an issue, man.
No matter who you vote for, 50, you got to understand. Like, I'm going to break down 50. 50's looking at it. He don't care if Donald Trump don't like black people because 50 looking at it from his monetary pockets, the lesser of two evils. He wants to pay the least amount of taxes that he can because he's worried about himself. Some people who are black do not speak for black people. They speak for themselves. And this is one of those cases. 50, like, I made it out the hood. So you should make it out there. It's not that easy for everybody. Some people don't have the talents to put the words together and the look and the style the right time. Like, everybody can't be an athlete. Everybody can't be a rapper. Everybody can't be this. And, you know, with redlining and you know, the gerrymandering and the redistricts, we're, like, literally pushed together in most major cities. It's a talk. If you go to a lot of the older cities, especially, like, down south, they say don't cross them tracks after dark. Why? Because you went from a black neighborhood to a predominantly white neighborhood if you cross those tracks. The railroad tracks signify the two, you know, the city, like the halfway through the city. This side was predominantly black and poor. This side was predominantly white and wealthier. So that's how it's been. Look at most of the major cities. And so many cities and pretty much so many cities, people, and places have done things to keep us all like segregated, and it's few and far between. It's not working. People are fed up. People should be fed up. This has been going on because I really can't think of any progress we've made really since the 60s. I can't even really think of progress we made during the 60s. We made progress during the 60s, yeah, but I can't really think of any progress or anything we've made, any gains. You can say athletes. But really, they're athletes. That's what they are. They're athletes. You know what else are athletes? Horses are athletes. When they run and when they go for the Triple Crown, what happens? You win, you get all this glory, and then then it's over. This is what it is. It's your athletic career. You win, you do all this, you win what you're supposed to win. You exceed your expectations. Then your career's over. And if they like you, they'll give you some speaking engagements. If you did enough for your people, you did speaking engagements. But that's why a lot of players, like even this year, pretty much people say, don't talk about politics, shut up and play basketball, shut up and play football. Because they just want you for your athletic skill set. But those same athletic skill sets, which makes you 6'4", you know, Derrick Henry, 6'4", 260, runs a 4.4, also makes you a target when you get pulled over to somebody be scared of you and beat the hell out of you and not kill you. So it's tough. But getting back to the subject with Ice Cube, I believe you should hear both sides. You should hear both parties. So if you're mad at hearing Donald Trump, whether I support Trump or not, which I don't, you should hear what he got to say. You should hear what his plan is. It doesn't mean you're going to vote for him because it tell Donald Trump if you really wanted this plan and you really wanted to enact this plan, you would enact this plan regardless before you leave. Shouldn't even matter if you win or lose. You should be trying to enact this plan right now. And you should tell Biden and the Democrats, don't after the election. No, revisit this now. Because we've been voting for you. We make up a fair number of your constituents. We vote for you on the regular. And you got to take care of us. The first thing you need to do as a base is take care of home. If the Democrats consider black people to be home because we vote 85, 87% Democrat, why aren't you taking care of home? You're not. They're not taking care of home because we're just a vote every 4 years come out. We're just a vote. Got to change that. Got to change the whole narrative. Like, what are we doing?
You got to do better.
I believe the Democrats got to do better. Like I said, I'm more of a socialist, I guess, when it breaks it down. Maybe not even a socialist. I have some more progressive ideas. Like, I believe we should have free health care.
Yeah.
I know you believe the same thing. And it's just different things I believe in. And I believe that this country is a capitalistic society, which is fine. But at some points, the people who are profiting off our capitalistic society has decided it is time for them to get more than what they should get.
Yes.
That's why you got Donald Trump paying $750 in taxes, which anybody who's worked a job that made over $12,000, which is $1,000 a month, $200 a week has paid over $750 in taxes. Federal
taxes. Crime.
It in a sense, it should be, but it's not. Why? Because those are the laws. You have to know the laws. The laws benefit them. That's what I'm saying. The laws have always benefited you. The laws have always benefited the rich. When you stack it up, when everything's so stacked up against you, it's tough to overcome.
Yeah.
And that's why some black people, Ice Cube and some others, are like, what can you just do for us? Because we just want to know. Because honestly, I've talked to a lot of my friends who are, all black, who are black in this case, the ones I've talked to, and they pretty much said, we care who win, but we going to make it either way. This is what they standing on. We're going to make it either way because why? Because we've had a lot of racist presidents before him. Everybody else seems to be infuriated with him. We didn't like him we don't really like presidents from the start. We don't really like government from the start for the most part. We really don't. You got to think we've been tested on. We've been not given the same opportunities after we served in the military. So we're not really huge fans of government, but all we ever want is to be treated equally. Some people will treat us equally. Some will not. Some will treat us just based on our income. Some will not. And that's what we into. But,
and that's
sad.
To be fair to Ice Cube,
mm-hmm.
the things that he has said make sense. He I think he called it the contract for Black America or something. Is that what it was? Something?
Yeah, something like that.
Something along and I might have the words out of order, but he, basically, decrease home ownership, to increase small business opportunities, to increase income and wealth possibilities. Like those are all positive things that are needed.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, listen, I'm going to go to whoever's in power and I'm going to say this is what we need.
Uh-huh.
And to be fair, that's exactly what we should do. Like we should, I'm saying, like I want to give him credit that's, and the Democrats did say we'll talk about it. I get it, but I just wanted to say that to give credit to Ice Cube, he is talking about some things that are positive.
Yeah, he is.
That are needed, that are necessary.
I commend him because he's bringing it to the forefront. Everybody's not bringing it to the forefront. I commend him. I even commend cats, LeBron James, because everybody has that. I love what Viola Davis does. She does a lot of amazing stuff on Instagram, and she, works behind the scenes. She tries to put stuff on the forefront. So big shouts out to Viola Davis, LeBron James, Ice Cube. These people are working hard. There's so many other people I know that are working really, really hard to try to get us, because at the end of the day, we feel like we don't have a voice here. Because understand that even though I don't really support Black Lives Matter, I actually don't. We can get off into that if you want to in a little bit. But I don't really support them. I support the movement of Black Lives Matter. Because all Black Lives Matter means to people, and I say this, we're not trying to be extra. We just want it to be equal. Because we feel like if we equal and we lose, we can take that. Some of us can. There's always bad apples and everything. And we lose. The majority of us can we lost. That's okay. But sometimes we lose and we always worry about, did I lose just because of the color of my skin? Or did I lose because I really just lost? We don't know. And that's the hardest thing when you see everything that's went on this summer, is that we haven't felt ever, and I've talked to a lot of us like we're equal, because we feel like we're not. The majority of us feel like we're not equal. We feel like reparations. The American government paid the Jews reparations, and the Holocaust happened in Germany. Yeah. Meanwhile, we were slaves here for several hundred years, and we ain't got anything. Go figure. The Chinese were given reparations for, the whole railroad and things like that. And or it might have been the Japanese, no, the Chinese. They were given money, yet we were not. The American Indian was given land and money and tax exemptions. Some people want to change that. We've been given nothing. Everybody else has been given something for their pain and their struggle. We've been given nothing. And part of it hurts. You see, the Breonna Taylors, the George Floyd, several atrocities committed by the police, and you just say, would this happen? Because our thinking and our logic is, and you can, interject, would this happen to us if we were white? When you look at the Breonna Taylor, when you look at the George Floyd, that happened to a white man. I can't say it would.
So I know one of the things, because I love history, and I in my lifetime, there's something about me, I think, because there's so much BS on both sides.
BS and viewpoints.
We just talked about some of the BS, even though we both are supporting the Democratic Party.
In this situation.
In this election, that's what we're doing.
Presidential-wise.
In this presidential election, we're supporting yes. But we have expressed the BS on that side, too. To be
definitely.
fair.
Oh, yeah.
So, because of all of that BS, I always have to, I just have to know, I'm always searching for truth, right?
Same here.
And when I look back, so when you talk about African Americans not feeling equal, right?
Yeah, we don't.
So when I read through history and I see how they erased whole family legacies, how they changed names, stripped identities, as a guy that wants to be a good human being and a good Buddhist, like there are movies like 12 Years a Slave.
Oh, yeah.
I can't even watch that movie because it makes me so angry when I see a human being treating another human being in any way like that. Not to say that I haven't been in fist fights and things like that. I have, but it's a shame, and it's not. African Americans are not equal. They're not. There's no statistic in this country you can look at objectively and say, "Hey guys, this is okay," even today. And when you mentioned like what progress have we made? Yeah. I told you I'm an eternal optimist. I always got to find some hope somewhere.
Okay.
It's the only thing that keeps me going, right?
That's one of the things that keeps me going. That's what keeps me doing this.
Somebody told me, a friend of mine told me, Dan, you don't understand what it meant to see Barack Obama as president. For me to know, and this is a grown man in his 40s, an African American, told me, Dan, when I was growing up, nobody in my community thought we could be president.
True.
And I had never thought about that. As a white American, that had never crossed my mind. Now, I grew up in the projects very poor, so I never thought I could really be president either. But poor white Americans have grown to be very prominent. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I had never considered that until somebody told me. And so I think about that, too, in terms of my 9-year-old daughter who's got a lot of ambitions, and she's very smart. There's never been a woman president.
Yeah.
Does my daughter believe that she could ever really be president? So when I started thinking about things like that in those terms, I've seen some hope. We had an African American president, but we got to do better. And not everybody in America is equal, and until we are, we're not the America we should be. So I don't know if I got way off topic or not.
No. Talk about how you feel. BS and Viewpoints. Definitely follow us on YouTube.
And to be clear, just so everybody knows, I've got a minority wife, a minority family. The things that people dismiss as not being true, like inequality, because people just ignore it. They want to pretend like it's not real.
Yeah.
Those things that they're ignoring are daily realities in my house.
Yeah.
And that's a different vantage point that a lot of white Americans probably don't have. Not that that's any damn excuse, because it's not. But
it's not. But I mean, this is it's a conversation that should be had. It was for me. It was just like, let's just go into it. Let's just delve into it. Because most people don't want to talk about it. Most people don't want to talk about how uncomfortable certain things are with this country. And it's like, to get it all out in the open, you got to lift up that scab, because it's like a wound, but it's not healing properly. So you got to clean it out. But to clean it out, you got to talk about it and get it out there.
It's going to hurt.
More people, who are black and white need to have a debate on race. It's okay. Say how you feel. It's okay. And then get educated
Yes.
on what's going on in the world. Because most people don't look at it that way. Most people just look at it. They had they inner circle of friends, they bubble, and that's just how it goes. And it's just like, that's not the way this world should work. If you can't look at another person and feel some type of humanity towards them, then you probably have some type of issue.
Yeah. Well, and that's
what it is. And the problem is enough people, we're only 13% of the 13.5% of the population. Doing my math, that means 86.5 of the population of the United States is not African American. Meaning, I just feel like it's a lot of people that look down. I mean, that look at me in a whole different sense. Some are cool. Now, I can't say everybody's bad because I don't believe in absolutes. Because I can't say everybody's good either. But I also believe that some of this is some bullshit. Some BS. That's my viewpoint.
Well, I think that was a key takeaway too when I was telling that, is if I didn't have enough sense to listen to people. Mm-hmm. Somebody had to tell me, hey, you don't understand, Dan. Mm-hmm. And when somebody tells you don't understand, it's kind of our reflex, our instinct to be like, you know what I'm saying?
Get defensive. Like,
I hope that I always have. We should listen to each other. Mm-hmm. And one of my theories is, no matter who you vote for in November, or who you vote for early, like we did this year.
Vote early.
Vote early. We did. It wasn't that painful. It actually could have a decent experience. But no matter who you're voting for, most of the people that I find out that I can tolerate and talk to, when I make myself tolerant, mm-hmm. we agree on probably 90% of things. Yeah. We do. I mean, we mm-hmm. have 90% of things in common, but those 10% are the only things we focus on. Mm-hmm. Have you noticed? I mean, am I off the wall here with that?
Maybe, let me I'm going to say this the best way I can.
Okay.
Maybe you as being a white man, that's different. I don't know if my percentage is that high, because I ran into some people and they say, hey, they see me, Cutty Coastal. They like, oh, he cool dude. That's my friend. Then we get to talking on race, and it's just like they're white, and we get to talking about race because I want to see where they stand at. And it's like they felt like, hey, well, this should have happened, that should have happened. And then we talk, and they like, oh, I kind of feel like I get you're different pass. Like, you don't understand the struggle. You can relate me to the struggle because you know I'm part of that struggle. But if something happened to me, you're offended because you know me. But if something happened to my people, you're not offended because you figure something else happened. And that's the crux of what I'm trying to get to in these discussions, is that's what's going on. It's easy to look at your friend. If your friend happens, if let's say you're white or Latino, and then you have an African-American friend and something happens to him, it's a way different experience. Like, oh, that person was such a good guy. I've been knowing them. Wouldn't hurt a fly. They're a great person. And if you just see somebody randomly getting messed up, because that's different, because you've emotionally at some juncture for even a little bit have connected to that person. So you consider them, maybe even if you're just friends, they might even be considered to you extended family. You probably get that. Some don't. Because I've seen some people, we had talks about different issues on race. I'm on different, chats. I'm on Instagram and I chat with people. People send me friend requests. And, I got friends on Facebook. The jobs I work. And I've seen some people that I work with who call me friend, want me to go out to lunch with them, want me to meet their family. Then we had these debates on race. And I'm just like, we're like way off from where we should be. And part of that issue is they don't look at me as just being black. They look at me as like, I know this guy. He's a coworker, acquaintance. They might even consider me a friend. But I'm looking at it like, if you can't stand up for all of us, there's no way you can just stand up for just me, because the situation just benefits you because you know me. That's how I look at the situation. So maybe that percentage, to get back to what I'm saying. That's
definitely, and that's important that I listen to that, because that's a vantage point that I'll never have. Mm-hmm. Like, there's no way possible. It's like I tell my wife. Mm-hmm. I live with my wife. I know my wife well, but I'll never understand what it's like to be a woman. It's not possible.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not. And not that I would want to. But
it's
no matter how hard,
I don't understand.
No matter how many books I read, no matter how many people I talk to, no matter how much I listen, I'm never going to understand what the world looks like as an African American man.
Oh no,
Or as Cutty Coastal.
No.
Like it's not going to happen.
Yeah, because it's hard to be this beautiful.
It's
hard to, it's hard to be this beautiful.
BS and Viewpoints.
It's really. It's hard to be this good looking. It's hard to be this good looking. Woo! All my life, I had to fight.
Hey, I don't know about the good looking, but as my kids would say, smooth AF.
Yeah, but that's getting it in. I mean, that whole Ice Cube situation is definitely interesting. But we did this earlier. The whole audio podcast we did. I just tell people definitely vote. Vote for somebody. What I mean by that is, even if you vote Republican, vote for somebody. I would tell you sit your ass and stay at home because it's not what I want, but you shouldn't. And also, politically, said this earlier, it starts local. Don't believe it starts up top. A president for you is 350 million people. They govern 350 million people, but they really don't. Look at Donald Trump. When things got tough, I'm a give that to the states. I'm going to give that responsibility to the states. I'm going to delegate the responsibility to each individual state. That's why you got all these different COVID protocols where you got more Republican states where the states are open and they're not wearing masks. And then you got more Democratic states that are like, oh, you need to wear a mask and your bars can't be open. And your bars can't be open and serve drinks past 10 or 11 o'clock. So that's because, I felt like that was a failure in leadership on his behalf, but there's been a lot of failures of leadership. But with that being said, still got to vote local. Because people are like, hey, man, people are getting hemmed up with all these crimes and all that. I'm like, well, you got judges. That's who you vote for. You got city council. Yep, that's who you vote for. You got sheriffs. That's who you vote for. You bring up all these concerns with them. Everything starts with a groundswell, a ground movement. Get your views, no matter who you are. Get your views, but especially us brothers and sisters. I know there's a conservative wing, but people, we need to get a super PAC. You need to push your agenda with a super PAC. Everybody who has a like-minded or cares about themselves need a super PAC. Why? Because politicians answer to money. Donald Trump, if me and you call Donald Trump, he not answering. Me and you call Joe Biden, he not answering. Let the Koch brothers call Donald Trump. I bet you he answer. They got that bread. They got that money. They got that moolah. Money, super PACs make you talk. When you look at a super PAC and say, hey, this super PAC gave me $10 million, then you have to answer them because they put money up for you. They run the campaigns for you. You can't ignore them. That's why I said we need super PACs. We have to understand politically that our biggest thing we can do is be economically empowered. When you're economically empowered, then people got to come mess with you because it's more than just the vote at that point. It's money and the vote. And that's what I would like my community to do better. Everybody's different. I'm like, my community, economically, we need to do better as far as super PACs. Stop buying all these expensive clothes and doing all this, that, and the other. Everybody can't afford it. I'm not. If you can afford expensive clothes, that's fine. I can't. It's just not in my budget. I can't afford expensive clothes. I'm sending my daughter to private school because I'm a firm believer in education is paramount. So education is real important to me. So I'm sending my daughter to private school. But I see some people, their kids look super nice, but you're sending your kids to a failing school system. I don't understand that logic because I don't flave with that logic. Education is paramount. Set your kids up for success and set your kids up and teach them to be better role models. That's why I feel like we need a super PAC because we need to see positive people in the community and we need to have positive people in there who really care about us. And it's not that these people don't care about us. They just know that they don't have to do a lot for us to get our votes. And that's the concerning part to me. If you don't have to do a lot for our votes, you just count they just bank our votes in. They look at the percentage. 85% of black people, check. We're gonna get that. It's all about can we get them to turn out because we know they're gonna vote for us. Can we get them to turn out? So,
and that's I think that's kind of the thing that worries me about this election. By the way, is with this pandemic. Who's more likely to vote? And that's one of the things that really worries me.
I've seen a lot of people. Turnout right now is on on like a 300% increase.
Historic level right now.
The higher the numbers are, the easier it will be for Biden to win.
Yes.
And, I don't necessarily agree with everything, but happy birthday, Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
I mean, throw her out a happy birthday. I don't necessarily agree with everything she's done, everything she's, recently done or did in her past. But it's her birthday. Excuse me. And she's still a queen, and, I got to respect her. And I definitely respect her because at the end of the day, she explained the best she could. She could say some other stuff, but at the end of the day, she thought she was just doing her job. Whether it was right or wrong, I deem it was wrong, but she thought she was doing her job. So thought she did the best she could. She thought she was really helping, and maybe she was helping. Maybe she's making some things worse, too.
Yeah, I've got some pretty strong opinions, but happy birthday, Kamala Harris.
You got strong opinions?
I've already voted for Biden-Harris, so I've got... I don't know. I have a sense of relief from that, actually. The fact that I've already got my vote done. My wife and I went down early to the early voting center. There's only one early voting center in all of Lucas County.
Board of Elections?
No, it used to be called a source.
Yeah, the board. I want to say it's the Board of Elections.
Yeah.
It's the Board of Elections. That's where I go to vote because you normally go in.
So we went down there, and it was about a 50-minute wait in line.
They open up at like 6:30. I want to get there. With COVID, I want to get there like 6 o'clock, 6:15 a.m. in the morning and knock my vote out because I just prefer to do it that way. And I'm probably be one of those weirdos. You'll see I'll have my mask on. Not weird, interesting, but I'll have a bag with Clorox bleach wipes while I wipe down everything before. Hey, don't judge me.
I don't think that's weird. That's called safe.
I'm just trying to be safe. I got a lot to live for. I got a little one. I got a mama.
Actually, when we went and early voted in Toledo, everybody's required to wear a mask in public. Mm-hmm. So everybody had to have a mask to vote anyway. They wouldn't allow you in if you didn't have one.
Oh, that's what's up. But it's just about catching it. Like I said, they started like 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah. So we did have a 50-minute wait, but it went smooth. The line moved quick. It wasn't a long line. We were wrapped around the building, halfway down the side of the building. Line moved quick. They took 50 minutes, but we got in. We voted. Our vote counted, supposedly.
Yeah. It's been people waiting hours.
I got my sticker to prove it.
I feel sorry for them. I'm going to rock my Vote Ohio sticker next week. I'm going to bring it on here. It's going to be right here on the chest, over the heart, Vote Ohio. I'm going to rock it next week.
But I agree everybody should vote because no matter what side of the political spectrum you're on, a country works better when everybody participates. A team works better when everybody participates. The more people that participate in who we are as a people, the better we are.
Yeah.
No matter which way you lean.
And the more people treat us equal, the better it'll be. Woo! Amen. I said it. BS and viewpoints. That's my viewpoint. Yeah, but that's how it goes. I definitely believe everybody should vote no matter what. Like, I see people, I'm not voting. It ain't going to change. I'm like, all right, so if you're not going to vote, this is what you do. If you're not going to vote, don't complain about the outcome. And then also, if you're not going to vote, take it upon yourself to do something positive in your community. But you can actually do all three. Don't complain, vote. Don't complain about the outcome because no matter what, I feel like the outcome isn't going to help you a lot. It's really not. And then do something in your community. That's what it boils down to. Do something do a positive thing in your community. Because people see that, and what people don't understand is when you do positive deeds, it catches like wildfire. Let's say you do a positive deed, 3 kids see it, 1 emulates it, then another kid emulates it, the next thing you know, you got a whole little movement. That's all I'm trying to tell people to do. Get a positive movement. You don't have to be so negative. You don't have to do this, that, and the other. I want a positive movement in my community. I want people to see that there's actually things worth fighting for. Your freedom is worth fighting for. Your economic empowerment is worth fighting for. We got to make our dollars circulate more with us. Like far too many times I see corner stores where the people who own it don't live in the community. They don't even patronize the community. They won't even go to a restaurant that is black owned in the community. And I see it and I'm just like, wow. I see a lot of people coming in taking money out. And that's not how you it's not how you economically impact yourself. The dollar spends the way the dollar spends. But when people take your money and then you have nothing left to show for it, that's the situation you're in. Or you have torn down houses, or you have lower housing, you have higher crime rates. And people understand higher crime rates has nothing to do with color, It has everything to do with your finances, because no matter where you are, crime is high in Kiev, which is actually in the Ukraine, which is not a lot of African Americans there.
Yeah, I can't imagine. So you're saying crime's not the same in Ottawa Hills as it is in East Toledo?
Wouldn't be, because Ottawa, it's black people I know that stay in Ottawa Hills, which is a really affluent area in Toledo, around Toledo, but it's black people stay there. But when you making $200,000 a year, it's different if you making, $11 an hour. Oh, and by the way, Ohio minimum wage is like $8.50 currently, 2020. Yes, I said it.
Terrible.
Yeah, so our minimum wage is only like $8.50. So if you got a guy making $10 an hour, working 40 hours a week
with the family.
He's making $400 a week.
Bring home $280 a week after taxes.
Yep, four.
He's got to pay taxes, unlike Donald Trump.
Oh yeah, $280 a week. 280 times 52. I'm gonna do the rough math for you. He's probably bringing home about $15,000 a year. So all he's bringing home, and you gotta support him, his girl, baby mama, him, and the kid. That's hard to live off of. So you
can't live off. Yeah,
you make life choices. Some people make bad life choices, and I've seen people make bad life choices because pressure of life gets heavy. Where they're like, oh, I'm gonna do this. Then once you get a felony, that starts to snowball. Because then that eliminates you from getting certain educational benefits. You can never get a job with the federal government, and you're not allowed to work certain places, and you're not allowed to get housing. So it is a complete catastrophe once that happens. And they got some states that are more felony friendly. I want to say Minnesota's one of them. Then you got certain states that have issues with felons even voting still to this day. So once you get a felony on your record, it makes it real tough. And it makes it where it just keep pushing you back to a life of crime, because you can go out and work that job and only make $15,000 a year. Some people are like, I can make that in a week out here on the streets. I can make that in a month out here on these streets. So it makes it hard, and that's why you got to provide economically more opportunities for yourself. Everybody's not going to take your positive economic thing. You might not be able to talk. If you talk to 20 people, you might only get one or two at first. But that's one or two more that you got going in a positive direction. That's all you're trying to build. You're just trying to build a positive direction and buy the block up. That's what I'm trying to do. That's what me and my family trying to do, trying to buy the block up. Trying to buy it. Then once you buy it, you fix up every house on the block. Say you buy a little small block. Let's say it's only 10 houses on the block. You and your family buy all 10 houses. Y'all all help each other. Literally help each other fix the houses. And you own the block. At that point, you get them all appraised. Your houses could like triple in value. And you own it now. You own the block. You could have bought a house for like $40,000, fixed it up, put like $10-15,000 worth of work into it, get it appraised as $120,000. And y'all own every house on that block. Now y'all property value is steadily increasing. Now you have flexibility, and as far as you can decide to pull the equity out of it and go do that again. But I tell anybody, economic empowerment is the best empowerment. It's one of the best empowerments. It's the only, in my opinion, in this country, is the main way to get equality. Probably, it's the best way to get equality. You're only 13.5% of the people. It's hard to fight 86.5% of the people and win. You'll probably lose, because that is
it
almost.
Shouldn't be a fight, though.
Yeah,
to be clear.
Yeah, that's 1 versus 6. Mm-hmm. That's hard to win, and it shouldn't be a fight. But some people make it a fight.
Yeah, So, I asked myself, well, what's the American dream? Home ownership is somewhere in that dream, right?
Yes.
Part of the American dream is to own a home,
mm-hmm.
to have a family, or to at least have a piece of property that's yours.
Yep.
So that's home ownership is decreased year after year because there's more landlords. There's more, you know what I'm saying? And I think you're right that you're onto something. The American dream, part of that is home ownership. Part of that is,
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's my thing, because I've been around different parts of the city, and I've been to different cities. Big shots out to like Flint, Detroit, and this is my big issue. Landlord has been on decrease, and they paying all this money to tear down these houses, all these crews. When it was like, take that same amount of money, put into the house, fix it up at a reasonable rate, and put people who are on low income, give them the house. Just give it to them. Say you gotta pay the taxes on it, but instead of giving you landlord income, putting you in an apartment building, I'm gonna put you in a house, and the house is yours. So if you choose to, but you gotta keep it for like, let's say 5 years. You gotta keep the house for 5 years. But we're gonna give you this house. We're gonna fix it up. Put the money in it there, fix up the houses, and then give it to people who are poor. So I'm gonna give you a house. The house might not be worth much, might not be in the best neighborhood, but now you got a place to stay. One of your first problems is eliminated right there. One of your first and main problems is eliminated. Now you don't have this huge thing where I gotta go spend all this money on rent. You don't have it. You just gotta pay property taxes. A little bit different, you know. But if you did that, I see all these vacant fields where they've just torn down properties. Some of these properties are not dilapidated. Some are, but some aren't. And with all these people, you could have gave them a house. It might not have been worth much, but it's still a house. Because once you got a house, you're like, okay, this is mine. You know, I got to make sure I cut the grass. I make sure I do this, whoop-de-whoop. And it gets you on the road to recovery because it's economically empowering you. And I heard this, and I deem this to be true. A lot of these companies that come out here, in my opinion, tell me if I'm right or wrong, do everything they can to put you further in debt. Mm-hmm. They'll give you student loans. They'll give you $200,000 worth of student loans. You'll be paying that for the rest of your life. I want to say Obama, a few years before he got in office, was still paying student loans because he was like $150,000 in debt. And that's what happens. They give you a loan for a car. They'll probably give you a high interest loan for a house, but they won't even give you a $20,000 loan for a business. But they'll let you accrue $400,000 in debt. Mm-hmm. They won't even give you a loan for a business. They won't. And that's just further gets you in debt. Like I read this thing, this lady was like, hey, I'm like $50,000 in student loan debt. She was like, I paid $40,000. I still owe $40,000 because the interest. That's how they get you. They get you in these programs, try to make you go to school because you're trying to better yourself. You get the education. You may or may not even be able to use it. And then on top of that, or the field just doesn't pay much. Picture you being a teacher. You being $100,000 in debt to be a teacher to go make $30,000. Now, how long is it going to take you to pay off $100,000 if you can only pay back $5,000 and they hitting you with interest? It's probably going to take you 35 years because it's probably going to be looking at almost paying $200,000 when it's all said and done.
I keep thinking about two interesting facts that I have read about home ownership. 2 facts, I'm just going to throw them at you.
Go ahead.
At one point in the last 50 years in America, the city of Detroit had the highest home ownership per capita of any city in America in the 1960s.
That's when Detroit was at the epicenter, though. They had the big three.
And the unions.
Yep,
so that fact. Here's the second one. There are more empty houses in America than there are homeless people. That's it. Those are my 2 facts.
Killing them. Definitely. Those are, you can move people in there. That just seems
crazy to me, but it's true. It's
crazy. I just saw them tear down like 10 houses around, not on my street, but 10 houses not too far from me. I was going and, support this little local business that, that my uncle knew, little corner store. And I went and I'm like, wow. Me and my mom in the car like, wow. They tore down. I'm like, they just tore down like 10 houses. But people are still living here homeless. And people are still living here, in low-income neighborhoods. Not low-income neighborhoods, but like low-income housing. Get these people a house and say, all right, I'm going to give you a house. Now, this house is yours. If you mess it up, that's on you. You can't sell it. You can, you want to leave it empty, that's fine. But we're giving you a place to stay, somewhere where you ain't got to worry about paying a few $100 for rent. Start filling up these houses, like fixing them up and filling them up with people.
You got to find, no matter what your political belief, if people aren't engaged and investing in their community, you're not going to, what kind of community are you going to have?
You're going to have a crappy, shitty-ass community.
And that's, whatever it is. If I'm not investing in my house, maintaining my house, what kind of house am I going to have in 10 years?
Shitty-ass house.
And people aren't investing in their neighborhoods. Why would they?
Yeah. It's nothing to make you want to be invested. Why should I be invested in a neighborhood where the people who own it are renting it and the people who are renting it are destroying it?
Yes.
And the people who own it just want the money from it because they're landlords. They don't even live in the area. They're just here because it was a cheap place to get a house flipped to make some money. Just picture that. We live in Toledo, cost of living low. Let's say you catch a house, different. I've seen houses go for like $6-7 grand. Picture you bought a house. We're just going to use the number 10 grand. We're just going to use that number, right? 10 grand, $10,000. And then you put let's say you put $18,000. Let's say you put $14,000 into it. So you out $24,000 total. $24,000. But you charge $600 a month for rent. 600 times 12 is $7,200. 7,200 times 4 years, when you factor in property taxes, you've already made your money back. So the next of it, it's just all money. And that's how a lot of people, they do the numbers, they do the math, and they're like, oh, I can make a lot of money doing this. And that's how they do it. Some of them don't even care about the properties. That's what I'm saying. You got to get home ownership up. And it doesn't have to be in real affluent and expensive neighborhoods. Just give people the chance to own their own house. But what has this country ever did right for anybody who really wasn't rich? Especially us black people. I can't think of what this country has recently done anybody right who wasn't rich. But I can't think of what this country's never done right for black people. I have more respect, definitely more respect for the unions than I do for the government, because some of them tried. And I have more respect for some organizations than I do for the government, because some of them had to be put in place because the government didn't look at us as equal. I feel like, man, it's 2020s. We still separate. We've never been equal, but we still separate. So separate, not equal. But that's life. I can't complain about it anymore. I done said everything I got to say about it. Any last remarks?
Hey, thanks for inviting me to BS and Viewpoints.
Yeah, I talk a lot of shit on here, don't I?
Yeah.
I talk a lot of BS. But I got to. All right. Definitely. This is BS and Viewpoints. Definitely follow us on Instagram. Click the subscribe button. You can also catch Dan on Dan, the Blue Collar Comedy Gospel Hour on YouTube. Like and subscribe that. Keep it going. Keep it flowing. Y'all have a good one. Stay safe. Love y'all. Rock that vote. Yes, sir.
Go vote.
Bang. That was fun.